I am that I am. Adamus of sovereign domain. With you every step of the way. Going to take a few minutes here and just feel your energy. Let you feel mine. And have I told you lately that I love you, David? So we start off with some beautiful music on this day. With you every step of the way. We should create a song together every step of the way. Yes? Agree? Okay, go. Yes, indeed.
Every step of the way, I'm with you. Every step of the way.
I was going to sing. You may have been with a Letterman. I've been with the Great White Brotherhood. Top that.
Can you hum a few bars? Huh?
I've been to a few bars, but I never hummed. And Ralph, where is your rim shot? Boom. No, indeed, do continue every step of the way. No, please. A little accompaniment.
Okay.
Sorry, Ralph.
Now, time out. I did overhear you talking to Cauldre before we started, and you did say, I hope Adamus doesn't have anything up his sleeve today. Nothing up my sleeve, but oh dear Ralph, you asked for it. So, every step of the way, every time of the day. Oh, Cauldre, you can do every step of the way. Every time of the day, I'm in love with me.
He's in love with you. Every step of the way.
Now,
Yes.
now I know why. Seriously, before Jeff came out, he was quite rattled, and he didn't really know why. And this past 2 minutes has me completely clear why he was so rattled.
Oh, I have to get back into Cauldre. He is a little bit shocked by all of this. So have a drink of water, a little breathing here. Actually, we should collaborate. It would be wonderful. So, dear Shambra, here we are. Indeed, with you every step of the way. And I probably have told you along those steps that I do indeed love you. We have our times with each other. A little challenge between each other, and I know right now it's the most interesting time of your life ever. That doesn't mean good, doesn't mean bad. It's just the most interesting time of your life ever. Because right now you've gotten through the bulk of your processing. All these old wounds and issues, Tobias, 10 years processing, we can pretty much let that go. There's still residual energy. There's still some wounds that hurt, and there's still issues you have with yourself, things that come up. But we've pretty much gotten by that. You're sometimes have that seduction draws you back to some of the old issues. It's seductive. It's sometimes fun to go back into the victim energy Sometimes really fun to go back into that energy of, I just don't know what I'm supposed to be doing right now. I have no clue, Adamus. That's what I hear from you so often. I don't know how to handle things. Really. I mean, really. Do you not? Or is it just that part that's drawing you back? Because sometimes it's actually easier than taking responsibility. Sometimes easier than accepting who you are. Part of you truly wants that enlightenment. Part of you truly wants to experience the I am, but you must not really want it enough. Otherwise, you would have it. True? True. Sometimes, dear Shambra, please don't take this with any offense, but sometimes you're like spiritual alcoholics. Sometimes you just have to keep going back for one more drink, and you know what it's going to do to you. You go back for that one more drink of some of the old spiritual cop-outs that you had, the seeking and the searching. And you know you're really beyond all that now, but there's just part of you that just one more drink of that old energy, that I'm wounded, I'm just human, I really don't know the answer, and I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do right now. So I have to rely on gurus and old books and classes and everything but experiencing the I am. Everything but. But yet there's that part of you that knows it is really time right now. It's really, truly time. And that's why we're sitting here like this. I actually don't have much to say today. but I will.
Oh, okay.
But I will.
Could you mind complimenting Jeffrey on his...
In a moment. But I'll tell you what I'm going to say, and then I'll talk for a while, and we'll have fun together, and then I'll tell you again what I said, what this is all about right now in this moment, at this session we're having together in this month of love, this space that we've created together, is to allow yourself to experience the I am in a passionate, new energy way. I can do drawings, we can have long talks and lectures and discussions, but what this session is about is now giving yourself the experience of the passionate I am in a new energy way. And that will happen, perhaps for some of you today, perhaps in this month to come, but it will happen. Right now, with the guidance of Kutsumi and so many who are in the Crimson Council, and you, and all of you watching in online, we are creating the experience of the I am. Sometimes I don't even like to have to use words about, say you're going to have an experience of what? New energy, I am, self-awareness, love of self. Don't even like to use the word at times, but you will have that experience. That's why we've gathered together here. So I'll talk for a while. Above and below of the discussion will be the energies that flow in to enable that experience or experiences now or in the days to come. And the experience will be profound and personal and very new energy. And that will give you a taste of what you've sought for so long. That will give you a clue of what we're doing here. That will give you that little essence, that basis for all of what we're going to do from here on. We've been talking with you the last few months about new energy. I've been giving some principles on this board about what energy is, and now we're actually going to go into the experience of it. And things can get a little bit what you would call crazy. Things in your life are going to take turns and twists. You see right away, it's, oh no, more turns and twists. But what if those turns and twists were unlike anything you've gone through before? What if they weren't traumatic? And what if they didn't, what if they didn't involve collisions with other people in your life and lessons about abundance and testing you about your own self-worth and difficult challenge? What if what we're going to experience, what you're going to experience, didn't necessarily have to have those attributes? You see, when I say change, and when I say adjustments in your life, what do you want to do? Go back to comfort, which is also old energy, which is also what you've been trying to get out of. You've been trying so hard to get out of that. Perhaps it's because you've lived with the illusion that the changes that you've had in your life up to now are negative, bad, challenging, or what would you say, they suck. But it's just energy. As we teach in some of the classes now, it's just energy. It was how you were interpreting it. You can take anything, what you would call bad or negative forces, and transmute it to pure energy to serve you. No longer has to be bad. No longer has to be challenging. Definitely doesn't have to be a lesson. So, you're going to go through experience. It will change things in your life. For some of you, very, very profoundly. Very profoundly. And it doesn't have to hurt. It doesn't have to grind away at your humanness. It doesn't have to be emotionally painful. So if you're ready, we're going to go there. We're going to go there. You nod your heads, you say yes. And you noticed how I haven't been taking questions either, on purpose. Because so often you have those answers within you, and questions and answers will get dreary. We'll come back to it sooner or later. But there was almost a tendency to dwell on what was wrong instead of taking a look at what's truly going right. So all way of saying is, we're ready for the experience of new energy now. Take a deep breath and let's start going there. And it's nothing like what you would think. So yes, and indeed, Linda of Isa, in answer to your comment, what a good-looking group here today. Katumi is so proud of all of you. Looking very, very good. And I'm going to ask you to do us a favor here. Kay, would you come with me, please? Would you take all of your accessories here, and I'm going to take one of your waters for her. I'm going to take both of them for her, and if you would, please. Come. There you go. You get to choose Ralph or David. David. Okay, here you go. And bear with me.
Ralph
for a
is
moment.
not
Yeah.
actually available,
Bear.
at least not on film.
So, we're going to have Hildegard join
thank
us
you so
in the
much.
seat. And she very intentionally chose just bore our gathering to cross over. She wanted to be here, and she wouldn't have been able to be here in physical body. She wanted to be here, so she allowed herself to cross over, allowed her energy to be with us today. And thank you, Kay. You know, it's an amazing thing when a Shambra crosses over now, comes to the other side. You notice as in the beautiful example of Hildegard. She didn't delay, she didn't hold back, she didn't have a long and dreary illness. It happened quickly. She was so comfortable, still is comfortable with herself, that she could just let go. She didn't have to fight the death process. She didn't even have to wonder about how to resolve all the details in her life, because she knows that they're going to resolve themselves. They always do. Wouldn't it be amazing to be in the physical body and know that and trust it? So Hildegard crossed over very easily. And the message that she has asked me to share with each of you is that the death is a beautiful process. You so fear death because it's letting go of who you thought you were, right? You releasing the identity, but in a way you really don't. The transition over to the other side can be, as Hildegard knows, absolutely beautiful. Doesn't have to be sad, doesn't have to be frightful, doesn't have to be painful. She actually did exactly what we talk about in Dreamwalker Death, making the choice, releasing and letting go. And Hildegard, sitting right here with us today, energetically, still very much connected to the physical body and the human ways, because it's only been a matter of hours since she left, found that the death process is actually very beautiful, amazing transformation, amazing alchemy of energy. And as I said a number of times before, birth is much more difficult. That's why babies cry. Birth means forgetting in so many cases, forgetting why you've come here. Birth means a long life ahead. Birth means having to repeat a lot of the things that you went through before. Birth means having to put up with the biological family that you chose in a haste so often. Birth means having to catch up where society is. So death actually is much easier. Death actually is much easier. And when you realize that, the rest of your life can be so much more dynamic. Do you realize how much time humans spend worrying about and avoiding death? What's going to happen one way or the other? The amount of energy that is consumed and the number of decisions that you make because of the fear of death. And in reality, death is a beautiful process. The understanding of death will help you to live so much better on earth while you're still here, while you're choosing to be here. The understanding of death will release some of these fears and allow you to live, allow you to create your reality. So Hildegard comes in today to let everyone know that it was a beautiful transition. Instantly upon leaving the physical body, she found herself on the other side as she knew it would be, beautiful, joyful, met by Tobias, Katumi, myself. No remorse, no unwanted needs or desires, because when she left, she left, released it all. So now, interesting, Hildegard and some other Shambra who are in their transition right now are here to work with you. Many of you knew her. Many of you here personally knew her. And she's here to work with you, not as a guide, not as a guru, but here to work with you like the rest of us, every step of the way. It's an amazing time because right now, and it's an amazing time for you and for us, because right now is the first realization of new energy on Earth, right here. I'll get into that in a moment, but a few comments as we continue. So I asked you to get dressed up. I asked you to make sure it didn't look like you were going to the farmer's market or the flea market on a Sunday, and you did quite well. I appreciate it. So why would I ask you to do that? And by the way, just a quick comment for all of you. Now you got dressed up, but now instead of looking like you're going to a flea market on Sunday, it looks like you're going to go to church. And dear Shambra, I love it, and I'll explain in a moment the purpose of this experience. But one of the things I'm encouraging you to do is to be aware. You see, so often whether you're eating something and you unconsciously eat it, you just sit down and scoop the food in. We're going to change that now. It's going to be about being consciously aware. I ask you to get dressed up for today. To be consciously aware. So often you put on the uniform, what everybody else wears. You put it on, you're not even aware, other than perhaps on a good day, whether it's your fat clothes or your skinny clothes. But being aware of your body, even through the way you dress, is going to be important. Awareness. You realize how many thoughts and actions and choices you make in a day that thoughts and actions and choices where you're really not aware, you're basically unconscious, not you, Tom, but I needed to rest on somebody. Where you're not really aware of what you're eating, of what you're saying, of what you're thinking, of how you're reacting. In order to really begin these experiences of new energy, it's going to be about being aware. So I'm going to be nagging you about that. And so is Hildegard, and so is Katumi, to be aware. What are you eating? It's not about the eating being good or bad. Are you aware that you're eating? Sometimes you're not. Sometimes a prescribed time, you sit down, you eat. This is going to be very difficult for new energy to integrate into your body this way. Be aware of how you dress, how you look, how you love yourself, how you take care of yourself. Be aware of your breathing. Sorry to say, but a lot of you are now breathing unaware. Andra, correct? Yes. You've been doing the breathing, but you've turned it into the new meditation. You don't even know you're doing it anymore. Somebody told you to do it, so you're now just breathing. Thinking, okay, I got to breathe for another 10 minutes. You can take one breath, And if it's filled with awareness, it's all you need. All you need. You can breathe for an hour unaware, going through the motions and the actions, and it doesn't do that much good. Be aware of things, how you are communicating to others. You know, sometimes your mouth gets to going. There's a funny connection between your brain, your mind, and your mouth, and it just goes. Stop for a moment. How are you communicating with others? It should be from the heart first. It should be from your essence first. And then the words just flow to match it. But you know, so often it's from here in the head, up, out the mouth, and there it is. Be aware of how you drive a car. Now, I'm not saying think about everything. There's a difference between thinking and being aware. Subtle difference, but there is a difference. I'm not saying to judge or to criticize yourself. Not at all, but to be aware. How are you listening to me right now? Say, well, I don't know, the way I always do. Sitting here listening. Be aware for a moment. Where are you listening from? How are you listening to it? Are you listening just on that one little level, just so it gets into your ears, and hoping that something settles in, hoping that you get something out of this? Or are you listening with your heart, with your whole being, with passion? Woe to those who sit at the end of the aisle. Start being aware. That's why I asked you to dress up. And now, dress up, I didn't say to wear a tie or a jacket, but I guess that was Caldra's understanding of dressing up. By the way, I'd like you to dress up from now on, one way or the other, if you choose. Of course, this is Shambhala. You're going to break the rules anyway, but dress up. So some of you dress up like you're going to church, which you're definitely not. Dress up. What does that mean? What about, you dress up at Halloween, you put on costumes.
Be careful what you ask for.
How about dressing up in some of the clothes from other eras? Yeah, dressing up as a future being, dressing up as a streetwalker. And for the ladies, that was for the men. For the ladies, anything you want. But, we've talked about it before, the getting out of the old ruts, and acting a little bit. Acting. I act when I'm with you. Good God, do you think this is really me? Yes, it is partly, but I allow myself to be flexible in my roles. When I address Shambhala, it's very different than when I address others. When I address you personally, it's different than it is right now, So by dressing up once in a while, getting out of the old uniforms, the old roles, it's going to send an incredible message to the rest of you. You can be anything you want. Anything you want. Have fun with it.
Really?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's going to feel perhaps a little awkward at first because you think there's certain ways you should dress. Say, I'm going to go to Crimson Circle today. I'll wear jeans and a sweatshirt. That's the way I should dress. Dress any way you want.
Really?
Act out. Absolutely.
Can you be naked?
I can be naked. I don't know if Calder wants to be, but and dear Edith, we would be delighted if you if you dressed up, not down, but dressed up. So dear Shambhala, where are we going with this? As I said, we're just marking time here, so bringing this energy of experience.
John, is this being recorded?
So, so awareness about how do you love yourself? Well, you probably really don't. You kind of take care of yourself, kind of a caretaker. But how do you love yourself? Be aware. What do you do for you? What do you do to nurture and to love yourself? Do you ever get up in the morning, go to the mirror and say, I love you unconditionally? No, you would feel, well, yes, but most of you are going to feel a little strange doing that. Glad you came back. Most of you are going to feel a little strange doing that. You've been told it's narcissistic. Well, now that's strange, not being able to look in the mirror and say, I love you unconditionally. Start becoming aware of the world around you. You've avoided it up to now, probably for the best. We needed to go through this releasing of a lot of stuff, but you've shut out the world. You're going to be, well, you actually are starting to be, and will continue to be, a very important part of the world and what goes on in it. Start being aware of not just reading the drama headlines, but really what's going on. What's going on in Haiti? It's a devastation. But what's really going on? Energy shifts, absolutely. And old energy that's long been buried coming back up, and it's going to be taking place all around the world. In Haiti right now, it's caused a lot of the world's attention to focus there. It had a lot of old energy, dark energy issues, and it's coming to the surface. It's caught the world's attention. It's caught the consciousness of humanity in a very beautiful way. But really allow your consciousness to go in and be aware of what else is going on. Release of old energy, yes. The changing weather patterns that Tobias talked about last year, they're happening. The weather patterns started their true changes last year. A change in everything from the magnetic grids, both physical and non-physical magnetic grids, shifting of the gravitational effects, shifting of the poles, and now you're seeing the manifestation of really interesting weather. And it will continue. It doesn't mean bad. It doesn't mean that things have to be devastated. Weather in Washington this weekend perhaps could be a record-setting snow. What a beautiful thing on Washington. Why? Because it stops everything for a moment. It stops it. It closes everything down. And if there's any place in the world that needs to stop, it's Washington. And that is not a political statement. It is an energetic statement. What happens is humans get into a cycle, a frenzy. You know this from your personal life. You can't stop. You don't know how to stop. How many times, just in the last couple years, did you invite in an event into your life that just stopped you? A car accident, an illness, some trauma, losing your job, because you didn't know how to stop. You were caught in a pattern. You tried to stop, but it just wasn't. So sometimes you call in an external event. Sometimes a world or a country will call an event like a snowstorm. Everything stops. A snowstorm is beautiful. So pure. Just puts a blanket on everything for a moment. Causes people to slow down, to reflect, to get out of the frenzy. There's actually some very interesting energy things happening in the whole East Coast right now. See how that area is inviting in a change, but it doesn't have to be an earthquake or a hurricane. The change can come in beautiful ways. And it can come that way in your life too. You can have a little bit of a snowstorm, or you can have an earthquake. It's really up to you. Be aware right now of what's happening in the world. For instance, now I'm not talking about getting into the politics of the headlines and the debates, but the changes and the shifts. So the reason why is because you are literally helping to bring in the very first of the new energy attributes. You are helping to create shifts in consciousness which put new potential out for everyone. So it's time to start being aware of what's happening in the world right now. Technology is an area that some of you feel uncomfortable with. You don't have to know the science or the computer programming or the mathematics of technology, but understand for a moment the energy. There was several major shifts in consciousness. One immediately after World War II, a big shift of consciousness, followed by changes in technology. There was another shift in the early 60s, huge shift in consciousness. That opened the door once again for technological advancement. Look what happened in the late 60s and the early 70s in terms of the explosion of new technologies. Sometimes it took a while to get to you, but consciousness comes first, and then things like technology and science and business and government come next. There's been other lesser changes, shifts in consciousness over the years, a little here, a little there. There was a big shift in 2001, as you know. It didn't do so much at that point to affect technology as it did to affect values and morals, and eventually I'm going to go so far as to say the shift of consciousness in 2001 is leading now to the shift in the practical shift in finances and in government, to a degree in religion. So the event, the shift in consciousness back there, is now manifesting. And you've seen it in things like the financial markets in the world, and you're going to be seeing more of it in government changes in the world. There was another shift in 2007. Went unnoticed by most people in the world, but it happened, and it was quite large. And it didn't have to come as a storm. It came as a welcome invitation. It was called the quantum leap. And most of you participated in that. That opened the door for amazing new technologies to come in. A lot of them are still on the desktop, so to speak, still haven't been implemented. But the changes of consciousness that occurred in 2007 are going to lead ultimately to new energy solutions, incredible medical solutions, if we can get by some of the religious, moralistic issues. Speaking of things like stem cell. Incredible openings particularly in this biggest, one of the biggest issues confronting humans right now, which is fuel, energy. Isn't it amazing that your energy workers were bringing in new energy, and the world is confronted with a huge energy crisis? Huge. It's not talked about so much. I'm not saying there's a conspiracy, but humans just don't want to address the fact that the world is consuming more and more fuel and using up a lot of the resources. Now, yes, there's still a lot down there, but your awareness will tell you, well, even if there was another 10,000 years worth of fossil fuel, oil fuel, aren't we also just polluting our environment? Aren't we damaging this gift called Earth that Gaia is handing over to us? So even if there were a lot more resources, common sense says, but if we continue to use at the rate we are, we're just going to keep causing ourselves problems with the weather, with the environment. So there's some brilliant fuel breakthroughs, technological breakthroughs, right around the corner. And I'm this year, next year, brilliant things like, and dear friends, not solar and wind. Those are, in my opinion, distractions. Distractions, very, very crude. There is pure energy, amazing energy that's very available. Cold fusion. There was an attempt to there was a laboratory experiment in cold fusion. It was very successful, but they couldn't duplicate it. Now, there were those who were saying, well, then, therefore, it never really happened and it was all a publicity stunt. Absolutely not. The experiment in cold fusion that came out a number of years ago actually worked. It produced energy without any real negative byproducts, unlike like nuclear, without any negative byproducts. It couldn't be duplicated. It couldn't be repeated because, oh, you know the answer to this? It's new energy. It's new energy. Yes. They actually, they don't know it, so we pass the word on to them, but the researchers actually were able to bring in like a advanced strand of new energy. In other words, it wasn't quite, but it was like a shadow of new energy. Actually, they tapped into it across time and space, and they created cold fusion. That's one of many, many new energy sources coming your way. Be aware of technology. There are, the reason I'm making a point of this, there are technological, medical solutions that are right on the brink of coming out. They're working on them in the laboratory, but they're missing a little component. They're on the right track, but not quite there. They're not going to get that missing component or that other little frustrating element until consciousness expands a little bit more. Technology, science, always follow consciousness. So what happens, dear Shambhala, as you're sitting here, as we're working together now in your personal reality, in new energy, in expanding your consciousness, well, that sets out the potential to everyone else, to the ones working on solving some of these problems, issues of disease, issues of fuel energy, issues of the global environmental issue. I'm not saying it's warming or cooling, but there are new solutions needed. The work that you're doing with yourself, with this group of Shambhala, is having an impact, making a difference. And that's why I'm delighted to be working with you like this. So, be aware of, thank you.
Welcome.
Be aware right now of what's happening in the global financial situation. Don't panic about it. Don't get into conspiracy about it. Don't start squirreling away money. Don't build underground shelters. I don't care what Ramtha tells you. He tells you for a very different reason, dear Shambra, which Caldra is asking me not to get into, so I won't. So the global economic situation right now is very interesting. It's a rebalancing or redistribution of wealth. But it still has a very old energy attribute to it. There's only so much. It's a great illusion to buy into. It's a great illusion to be sold. There's only so much out here. There's not. There's all the abundance in the world, but if everybody felt that way, well, then there couldn't be any control. So be aware of the redistribution. Don't get into worrying about the market completely crashing. That's drama. That's fear. Don't go running out and buying a bunch of gold, because you're going to see the gold market is over manipulated right now. And it can be very enticing to buy gold. No, you're selling gold. It can be very enticing. It can be very enticing to want to put gold in the mattress or convert your assets to gold. No, it's manipulated. It's a great source of manipulation. Be aware of what is happening with religions. You're seeing right now this incredible, what they call a controversy, or the challenges between the Christian and the Muslim worlds. Be aware that it's there, and start understanding why it's there. What's really happening? What is really happening? I'm not going to get into that right now, but we will come back to it later. So, and be aware of where your choices are coming from. Be aware of where your choices are coming from. Most choices come from emotion. Now, you'd like to think that your choices are intellectual. They're not. They're justified on an intellectual basis, but they're emotional. I go so far as to say 99.9% of every choice you make is emotional. Even when you're going to buy a car, and you say, but I'm buying it because it is fuel efficient, I'm getting a good deal on it. You buy the car because it's fast. But no. You are justifying it from an emotional level. You fell in love with it. You like it for some reason. When you're trying to choose even what you like to eat, it's based on emotion, not you justify it with logic. Start really being aware of your choices. Before you make a choice, stop for a moment. Get out of your mind. Stop for a moment. Where is that coming from? Choices are made out of fear. Choices are made out of seduction. And choices are made sometimes from a place of joy, true joy. They're not really made from up here, no matter what you think. They're made from those factors. So I would say about half of them are made out of fear. In other words, you're making a choice in your life because you are afraid of something else. You're moving away from something, choosing something else so you don't have to face a fear. That's not a very good way to live. A lot of your choices are made out of seduction. You're seduced into things like being a victim, actually seduced into having a good day, but feeling that you're not worthy of it and creating a bad day. You're seduced into other people's drama very, very easily. We'll get into that very easily. You're seduced into things like your own aspects, parts of you that are manipulating you. It's those voices that you hear, those sometimes strange urges. And these are coming in and really helping you to make choices or influencing your choices. Some of the choices actually are based out of joy or happiness, but not enough. So start taking a look at and feeling where your choices are coming from. Choices should be coming from a place of sovereignty, a place of awareness, and because you want it. You choose it. So as we get into bringing in this new energy experience into your life, awareness is going to be a key factor. Awareness. I may just drive you nuts with asking you to be aware. You are a consciousness being. And a consciousness being is supposed to be awareness, but that awareness has been, and the consciousness has been boxed up and shut down and closed off. We're going to bring that back out now, to be in awareness. So last month, when we gathered, I asked you, what do you want? What do you want? And let's continue with that right now. So, David, what do you want?
Where's the mic? Where's the mic? There you go.
To deeply feel and experience my true self.
Okay. I'm not going to make comment one way or the other. Yes. And Edith, what is it that you want?
I'd be happy.
I want to know how to exactly create what I want.
Wonderful. Thank you. Move over to Pete.
There you go.
Every person that meets me would feel cherished and accepted.
Cherished and accepted. Wonderful.
And the ones who don't feel that, I wish them well.
And over to Laura.
I want to play. I want to play all the time.
Good. And to Jane.
Jane.
I want to be in my passion and do what I came here to do.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yes.
Leslie.
Fun.
Fun?
I just want to have fun for the rest of this.
Wonderful. Mary?
I want to open my creativity more than it is now.
Susie?
Susie Schummel?
I would like to gather new experiences, continue to.
Excellent.
Thank you.
And then Dave, of course.
Dave Schummel.
To experience and expand without judgment.
Excellent. Catherine?
I want to be who I am, enjoy and create and love and dance and be.
Excellent. Eileen?
I want to experience all kinds of fun things and travel and experience it with lots of different types of people too.
Polly?
I think I want to, more than anything, experience the oneness of the oneness.
Kathleen, I asked you last month and you said the joyful expression of life, expanding and expressing, basically.
Yes.
Indeed. And I was so impressed, I said, WTF?
What's that for?
Where's that come from?
Where's that come from?
Yeah. Where is that from? Because it was so close. You're getting there. So close. So What do you choose this month?
The same thing.
The same thing.
I
Excellent.
just want to enjoy whatever I am, wherever I am.
Excellent. Okay. Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I've asked the question now, what do you want? 2 months in a row. Interesting answers. Not necessarily true answers, but interesting answers. Because, dear Shambra, first of all, if you really wanted it, you would have it, like I said. If you really wanted it. So a lot of these wants and desires are coming from the mind. A lot of your real wants are for the human needs to be met and managed. What you really want right now is for me to take a stone and turn it into gold. You would really like that. And that's addiction, seduction. It would distract you. It would absolutely distract you, and you'd spend the rest of your life trying to figure out how I did that.
But people want to know, is that really bad?
Not bad. A distraction, and that's not why you chose to be here. Let's go back to your wants. And the premise of our discussion here today is that you actually don't know what you want. You really don't. You say some words, and they feel good. But even for those who shared, even you don't really know what that means. And the biggest issue that I have with you, working one-on-one every step of the way like we do, is you don't know what you want. You don't. You have not a clue. And it changes every day. I wasn't going to hit hard. You spend your life trying to figure out what you want. One day it's this, one day it's that. Then you get depressed and you get upset and you get frustrated because you don't know what you want. You're led astray by what you think you're supposed to want. You get yourself into a lot of ruts and traps because you want this one day, you want that the next day. One day your priority, you think, is your human needs. You want things in your life. And the next day it's spiritual needs. You don't know what you want. And the good news is you're exactly where you should be. Exactly where you should be. What is that supposed to mean? Excellent question. First of all, just let's take this moment to take a deep breath and say, thank God. Thank yourself. You are exactly where you should be in this, not knowing what you want. It can appear as a dilemma, and it can really mess up a good day. But it's absolutely appropriate. Why? Because you've gone through a metamorphosis, a change to being just a human. Just your perception of yourself as just a human. You've gone from a basis or a platform of old human needs. Need to be loved and accepted by others. Need to have things like money in your pocket, some food on the table, a job that gives you a degree of respect. You need to have things like physical health. You need to have at least a degree of comfort with yourself. Doesn't take much, but just a degree. The general level of comfort with yourself is about that much. And you should have total comfort with yourself, total being at ease with yourself. So you've gone through this tremendous transition no longer just a human with just human needs, but now you're allowing the divine, the God within to come out. Doesn't come from out there, comes from within. You're allowing this integration of human and divine in this moment. No longer just a philosophy, no longer just some words, no longer a study group you go to once a month and then forget about all of it when you go back into your world, but actually really allowing it, actually really doing it. Therefore, in this process of transition, this integration, everything that you thought you wanted is going to become blurred and confused. Everything that you held important, you don't know about anymore. Any future goals suddenly don't have much meaning. What you thought was your passion suddenly doesn't have much excitement to it. What you thought you wanted, you don't even know if you want anymore. You can say the words, you can come out with something kind of nice, but it's going to change by tomorrow. It will absolutely change by tomorrow. And that is a good thing. It really is. There's nothing wrong with you. There is nothing wrong if that desire, what you want, changes every day. And it should. It should. In this cycle that you're going through right now, it absolutely should. So please, love yourself. There's just a tremendous amount of energy, tremendous amount of creativity coming through right now. So you're getting inspirations on a variety of different levels, and you're still getting the wants and needs from your human level, all coming together in a big mess, in a big chaos. But you know what I've said before about chaos? It's really not. It's only chaos when you're looking at it from, like you would look at a loom, a weaving loom from the underneath. It looks like chaos, but you look at it from the top side, and it's a beautiful tapestry. There actually is no chaos in your life right now. There's transition, transmutation, alchemy that's taking place in your life right now. Tremendous amount of alchemy. Do you notice how you still somehow let yourself get by? In other words, you haven't crashed. Yes. You think you're going to crash. You feel at any moment you're going to crash. You go to bed at night and say, thank God I didn't crash and burn today. Thank God I survived, and maybe tomorrow I'll crash, but at least tonight I made it through. You're not going to crash. You're not going to crash. It just feels like you're going to. You're not going to crash. You have all these energies going around you. You have everything in your reality base absolutely changing. You know how most humans get through is they have a goal or a plan or a desire. That leads them from point A to point B, and they get there somewhat relieved, and then they plan their next point B to point C. It's an interesting phenomenon. I'm going to talk more about it in just a moment, but even though I already said what I came here to say, but they use the goal or a want or a desire to get from one step to the next, and it's pretty much how you've come through your life. You had a goal when you were young to get through school, for instance. Then you had a goal to have a career and a family. And you had one goal, one thing after the other. You have a goal right now, whatever it happens to be, maybe just to get through the rest of this channel. Please, dear God. But that's the way life has been. Now, step back for a moment. Isn't that rather limited way of living and somewhat fearful way of living? And some what of a very unfulfilling way of living until you die. Well, that's kind of a weird goal. Make it up until the point you die. Survive until you die. Now, that's how most people live, and that's how you used to live, so don't laugh too hard. That's how you lived until yesterday. And then today, we're doing it different. So I ask, what do you want to agitate things a bit, to get you thinking? And I tell you that when you say in front of the group what you want, nah, it's not what you really want. Not at all. You think you want that, but you actually don't. Whatever you said, I don't care what it was. You don't know what you want. So let's just take a moment in that beautiful energy and let it be. Not knowing what you want. Getting out of the definition. Getting out of the goal. Getting out of perhaps old energy desires. Getting out of old expectations, because it's all going to change now. All going to change. The reason why I mention all of this, the reason why this is important, dear Shambro, is first of all to give yourself some relief to know you don't have to know what you want anymore. That's going to be a strange way to live, but you'll find it really lets you live. It's going to be subject to a lot of debate, a lot of intellectual discussions. There are going to be a lot that say, yes, I do know what I want, but I would challenge them also. No, you really don't. And can you just be at peace with that for a little bit? You are going to come to an understanding sooner than later, not today. You're going to come to an understanding of something that transcends real wants. You will have a passion that is so deep, that is so meaningful for the first time in a long time, that it will help you to understand how you've been creating your reality, help you to understand really who you are. But it won't be a want like what you've thought. You're going to come to, for lack of better words, a real passion with yourself. And I'm not talking occupation or a hobby or anything like that, but I mean a passion about yourself. A love of yourself, but a love that is intense and expressive. And from that point, it doesn't really matter what you do or don't do. With that kind of soul passion that you have, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to matter anymore. It just is. Now, you see, I'm having to go to use words here that become a bit intellectual, or we get esoteric. But I want to share with you what is happening and what is going to happen. Going beyond wants into passion. A passion is, for lack of words, how do you express passion? But the true understanding of the I am, the true brilliance of what you've been doing on the human level and now bringing in the divine level. I mention all this because something else is going to be happening. Some of you are already experiencing it just in the last few months. And this is a very important point. You've invited in this thing called new energy into your life. You've invited divine into your life. As you saw from my diagrams before, old energy was created from the passion to return home. That's what created all the energy. And the energy was used by your consciousness to create reality, to manifest. New energy now comes in as home comes to you, as God, you come back to yourself. That is new energy. It is not vibrational, as you've heard many times. It is expansional in every direction at the same time. Does not look like or act like or feel like old energy. And there's a part of you that wants it to. You want to define it in old energy terms. You think it's just a bigger, cooler old energy. It's not. It is totally different. That new energy is the byproduct of human and divine finally integrating. That's what created it. It's even new to those who are in the angelic realms, and they're watching and observing, and they're aware of you on a very intimate basis, because so goes humans on earth, goes all of creation. So they're extremely interested to see how it works. What's happening in your life right now, the reason why things are a little off kilter, a little disoriented, real disoriented, let's be honest. The reason why things are really upside down right now is this. The new energy is here. It is your creation, but it's coming from, you could say, a different realm, a totally different basis. It's coming to integrate into your life here on earth. It is now exploring you. It is exploring your emotions. Because in the process of integration, it has to understand where you've come from and what you're made up of. It wants to know how to work into your life. It doesn't want to fight you. It wants to know how to be a part of your life. It's the divine energy that you've sought forever, and it's here. It's coming in to say, how does this emotional part of you work? And so it's going right in and probing you. It's yours. This is not an alien probe. Those are quite different. This is not an intrusive outside energy. But that being said, there are some who don't know yet how to define or understand all this, so they're going to dream or perhaps think that they had an alien encounter. The likelihood is, if it's a group of Shambhala, likelihood is it is not an alien encounter. It is new energy coming in to say, David, what makes you go? It's not what you think makes you go, by the way, but what makes you go. It's the emotions. It's the desires. It's these aspects. It is feelings. Remember what I said before, that your choices aren't intellectual, although you would like to think they are? They're not. They're emotional. So the new energy goes in and is starting to look and to feel what is causing you to make those choices. It is at this moment it is going into, probing into your past lives, because it's part of you. It's what makes up you. So this new energy is coming to Earth. Well, it doesn't end up on a platter in front of you. It goes into you. You are going to feel it. It is probing every part of you. It's coming to understand how your mind works. It is going into your logic process right now. How does the logic work? It is going into the physical body. Some of you have had reactions lately. What's going on with my body? Because you're feeling it going in there. It's going into every part of you right now. You could say it's part of the process of the marriage and the integration that is taking place. So it's causing you to feel disoriented. And when that new energy hits a particularly sensitive spot, a memory, a wound that is still very, very sensitive, you're going to feel it. Those feelings are going to suddenly pop to the surface, and you're going to say, why did that just come up? You're going to, until today, you would have said, what lesson is God trying to tell me? What is Spirit trying to tell me? Nothing, nothing. It is a response to new energy going into your life to understand who you are. Understand how it's going to work with you going forward. It wants to integrate. There is no invasive forces. It's not going to, well, it's you. It's the new you coming to be with you. How amazing. But even though it's you, it's never been in this reality. So it's now going in to discover. And it's going to cause you to discover some things maybe even you didn't know about yourself. It's here right now. I'm going to ask you, dear friends, as more than ever, as the time of absolute trust in yourself. You have a tendency when things come along, new things, to pull back. If you don't totally intellectually understand something, you resist it until you can understand it or try to control it. This is not to be controlled in any way. That will be challenging. Humans they love control. Humans love to control their outer environment to make them feel like their inner environment is okay. And it's not. It's not. The controlling of the outer environment is a distraction or a self-deception. If you think you control everything, it means everything in here must be going okay. Let's let that go for a moment. You've invited the divine in, and it's here. You've invited in new energy, and it's here. Can you not control it? Oh, you say yes, but you're going to be challenged. You're going to be challenged with it, particularly this month. But what did we say before about challenge? It doesn't have to be bad. Change and challenge it. You're going to find, let's use for an example, sleep. We're going to find that your sleep is very disturbed, and your dreams. This new energy is going right into your dreams right now. That's why I've been asking you to keep a journal. It is now participating. It wants to know what happens in the dream state. What happens? And your dreams will change, by the way. The intensity of your dreams, the color of your dreams, the meaning of your dreams. Don't use old dream symbols to try to understand your dreams anymore. You'll really mess yourself up. I don't want to get off under dreams right now, but It is coming in every part of your life. And it's going to cause you to some days feel physically disassociated at times, like not able to function in this time-space continuum. But isn't that what you wanted? Didn't you want to go beyond the time and space? You're going to be challenged right now because it's going to take you out of comfort zones. But isn't that what you really want? No, you don't know what you want. And that's good. So you don't know what you want, and everything's changing. It sounds like a mess, doesn't it? Yep. And it's not. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. If you trust yourself, you're dealing with yourself here. Your divine, your God self, the part that you've always been wanting to bring back in unity. So it is the time to absolutely let go of the control. And you say, but if I let go of control, then all these outer forces from the world I'm going to be vulnerable, and they're all going to attack me. And the people who are constantly manipulating me are really going to lay it on now because my defenses are down. And the diseases and the germs are going to come in, and I'm going to get sick because I can use this energetic wall, and I don't let diseases in. So you're going to be letting all these guards down, and it's going to feel very strange indeed. Very vulnerable. And that is the point of trust and the point of energetic alchemy. Doesn't stones to gold, that's nothing compared to the energetic alchemy that takes place right now when you trust yourself, when you let all those guards down, when you don't worry about that person in your life that's constantly manipulating you. They're going to keep, if they can't manipulate you, they'll just go find somebody else, but you'll as you really trust yourself and you allow this new energy in, you're not going to have to worry about their manipulations anymore. You're going to be getting out of the game, but yet the game is going to be seductive. You're going to be getting out of an old way of living, but yet a part of you is going to want to go back to that old way. So once again, you're going to be stuck in this conundrum of, what do I want? The old way or the new way? And I can give you your answer right now. You're going to want a little of each. And that's probably not the best way to do it. You're going to want 1 foot in the old energy and 1 foot in the new. You're going to want the reassurance of keeping certain controls, keeping certain patterns and cycles in your life, and people and drama and other things. You're going to want that because it's comfortable. But yet, there's a part of you that really wants this new energy. Oh, it's seductive actually too. Just the thought of it. I'm a new energy person. I don't have to worry about anything. I'm better than you because I'm new energy.
What was that accent?
That was Calabrese. So there's part of you that wants both, and in a strange way, right now you don't have either. In this in-between stage, you actually don't have either. You're not really connected to the old. You haven't really integrated the new. So where are you? In chaos. In chaos, not knowing what you want or who you are. And that, dear Shambra, is beautiful. It is, actually. It is exactly where you should be. There is a whole team of beings, angelic beings, human beings, recently human beings, who are with you every step of the way, helping to support and to guide. When suddenly I'll pick on Ralph because he didn't want me to. When suddenly you find yourself in a situation where you just don't give a damn about that music anymore. It means nothing to you. All the old music. You know, there's a certain passion or love for it now, but what happens when it's just gone? You don't care. What happens when you don't even care about your spiritual journey? And that's the thing that you've held the nearest and the dearest, and why I call you spiritual alcoholic sometimes, because you have to have it. When all of those go away, when there's no true meaning in anything anymore, and you're in the right place. And you're in the right place, and it's appropriate. And don't panic, just trust in yourself, not me, not anybody else. Because this new energy is even probing that. The kind of the nothing, the void, the in-between, the total sense of loss. It's trying to understand that. It's trying to understand you. It's you. You could say, this isn't quite right, but it's you from the future coming to you right now. But it's not the future in terms of a timeline. It's you of all the potentials that you are now coming to you right now. Not just coming to visit, but moving in. Moving in. And that's what's happening. So let's take a deep breath with that. In this next short period of time, don't like the word time, but in this next short period, you will have an experience of new energy consciousness. It's going to amaze you. It's going to take your breath away until you remember Andra, and then you breathe in. It's going to confound you in ways that wondering why you've done things a certain way up to now. It's going to bring you back into love with yourself. It's going to give you a certain compassion for everything else. When you understand how hard you pushed yourself, it's going to give you that natural compassion with everything else. It's going to make you do one of these, slapping your hand to your forehead and saying, Adamus, why didn't you tell us before? But we did. When you have this experience, there's going to be a tendency to doubt the experience, to deny the experience, and to say, is this really a new energy, new consciousness experience? There's going to be a tendency to discount it. Don't. Allow yourself that you had it. Allow yourself that you just experienced it. There will also be a tendency to try to duplicate it right away. Don't. Because the next experience you have is going to be very different than the first one. First one may have qualities of being euphoric, inspiring. The next one maybe have the qualities of being peaceful and content and at one with self. The next one after that might have entirely different qualities. And as these experiences continue to become more frequent, and as they increase in their depth or their intensity, just allow it. Trust yourself and understand it's going to dramatically change some things in your life. And if you don't have the experience, but you will. If you don't, this isn't a race. It's going to happen. It's why we're here. Why we are here working with you. Why I came in after Tobias left to start guiding through this true integration of new energy on Earth. We're not going to just talk about it. We're going to share about it, but we're not just going to talk theoretically on the board. You notice I didn't even make one chicken scratching today. To make my point, I will on other days, but today, to make my point that it's going to be an experience. Going to be an experience. Are you ready? Don't answer. In the few remaining minutes that we have left today, while we're just waiting for the energies to balance, I want to talk a little bit about mental imbalance. It's one of the biggest issues on Earth right now. More mental imbalance per capita, per population, and more severity of mental imbalance than ever before on Earth. We're going to be doing some work together with Shambra who are interested to really take a look at new ways to manage what you would call a psychological imbalance. There's so much stress that on the mind right now, and here I'm not talking about Shambra necessarily, not talking about you. I'm talking about people who are neurotic or schizophrenic or psychotic or any of these other labels that have been put on them. However, I'm not talking about the ones who were born with mental limitations. It's a different category. I'm talking about the going crazy, in the now moment type of thing. So many of the mental retardation and mental limitations that happen at birth or in the early stages, in the early years, are actually more karmic oriented.
Does autism fall in that category?
Autism is a little bit different. There's a little bit different, but we'll get into that in detail in more of our discussions. But I wanted to talk about mental illness right now because some of you have self-diagnosed yourself or been diagnosed with not you, dear, but
No, he has been.
but and you're sometimes when you're going through a big experience or a big transformation in your life, there's a tendency to wonder if you're just going crazy, mental imbalance. It's easy for the clinical community to label it as such because they have no concept, no understanding of what's taking place within you right now. On Earth right now, there's a tremendous number of people that are going through these imbalances. A lot of them are being put on medications, which is a very temporary solution, but as you know, many others know that long term these medications do more damage than no medication at all. They're causing more depression. They're causing more suicide because they're stopping a natural process. Reflect back for a moment on what you've gone through over these last 10, maybe 20 years of your life in your integration and your fusion back into yourself. What it was like to go through these most challenging, self-critical, depressing times, real depression. All because the divine was awakening within and it challenged the mind to great degrees. The mind is the keeper of control, trying to make order out of chaos, but it can't. It's maxed out, it's stressed out, and here you have humans who are awakening, have no idea what's going on, and are being diagnosed with these mental problems. Shambra, it is reaching epic proportions on Earth right now. And something has to give sooner or later. Either the release of the explosion of the energy or the integration of the energy. Like you have done. You have gotten through most of this what you would call a mental imbalance problem, but it's not at all. It's an integration issue. You've gone through that. So at this point, when I'm asking you to absolutely trust yourself, it's also about letting go of the control of the mind, of having to put yourself in structures and in systems and in rigid definitions. When you transcend this need for all of this control of your inner and outer worlds, when you absolutely get into a place of the I am, which is trust of self, it affects consciousness. It will also then change the ways that humans are dealing with mental imbalance. And it will potentially affect the work you may be doing in the future. So, my time is now up. I will stop babbling. As I said in the beginning, very little to say today. Because it's all about saying, you're going to go into experience now. We're going to start being, living, breathing, and experiencing new energy. It's being absorbed into you right now. Not just your body, every part of you. Your memory, your ability to imagine, your ability to look into the potentials in your future, the ability to go into your past. It is absolutely being absorbed right now. Be with it. Understand what's going on. When we get back together next month, we're going to be in a little bit different place. Enjoy your experience. And with that, dear Shambhala, as you know, that all is well in all of creation. It's just hard to understand sometimes. And therefore, I am Adamus.
And so
And
it is.
so it is.